Hello everyone, my name is Puffin O'Hanlon and I'm a research assistant at the Division of Psychiatry at University College London. I'm one of the tutors on this course. Welcome to the final section of Block 3, which is about designing and conducting surveys. The first decision to make when designing a data collection tool such as a survey is exactly what it is that you want to find out. You need to ensure that the survey questions you ask will allow you to address your evaluation questions. You don't want to miss out crucial questions and then realise later, and you don't want to waste respondents' time asking questions that are of little value. Search online. There might be a validated questionnaire available that you can either use directly or adapt. Online question banks can also be useful. There are several advantages to using existing questions. Effectively, they've already been piloted and tested for you, and they allow you to draw comparisons with other research. They may also give you ideas about how to approach designing your own questions. Do remember to check whether you need any permissions to use them though. When designing your own questions, use closed questions where possible, where respondents have to choose an appropriate answer from a list of fixed alternatives. For example, yes-no answers or Likert scales. This will make it easier for you to code and analyse your data. If you do use open-ended questions, put these after your closed questions where you can. When designing questions, there are a few common pitfalls to avoid. Firstly, avoid using ambiguous terms or loaded questions. For example, often and regularly mean different things to different people. Better measures of frequency might be a Likert scale with options ranging from once per week to once per year, for example. Loaded questions are questions that push the respondent to answer in a particular direction. For example, questions beginning "Do you agree with XXX" are often loaded. Finally, avoid double-barreled questions. These are questions that ask two things at once, leaving the respondent unclear as to which part to respond to. An example of this might be, do you sometimes forget or decide not to take your medication? So we're asking two things there. Do people forget to take their medication, or do they decide not to take it? It's important to think about the layout of your survey and the effect it might have on participants. So introductory text should be brief while covering all key information that participants need to be able to complete the survey. Think about your participants and any particular requirements they might have. For example, a larger font size and an easy-to-read font. Number the pages and don't forget to thank participants at the end. Piloting your survey is really important to ensure that your survey questions and the survey as a whole operate well. Piloting will allow you to pick up on any areas of confusion before you administer it to your participants. When planning for administering your survey, you'll need to think about the time and costs involved and the needs of your population. For example, online surveys can reach large numbers of people easily, but access to the internet is still not universal. Face-to-face interviews are resource heavy, but they're likely to yield good quality data, and they may be appropriate for the needs of your participants or the nature of your survey. Think about how many times you'll need to administer the survey. For example, if you're only looking at association between variables, a single time point may be appropriate, but if you're looking at change over time, you'll likely need to administer the survey twice or more. Think about the need to remind participants to complete surveys, but do avoid pestering people who might not want to take part. Incentives like vouchers or small gifts can be helpful if you're able to provide them. It's important to bear in mind possible sources of bias arising during data collection. For example, your sample may not be representative of your target population due to difficulties in accessing the survey, so language barriers, cognitive difficulties, or other difficulties with accessing or completing the survey can all introduce bias into your sample. Think also about the possible effects of the context in which the survey is completed on the responses that participants give. So someone might give a different response to a question about their medication adherence if they are asked it by their doctor in a routine appointment, to how they would answer it if the information was being given anonymously in their own home, for example. Other common sources of bias include recall bias, which results from the differences in the accuracy or completeness of memories of past events or experiences. Another is non-response bias, which results when participants differ in meaningful ways from those people who choose not to take part in the survey. So try asking yourself these 3 key questions in relation to your evaluation, and don't forget to build a pilot into your design. That brings us to the end of Block 5. Thank you for listening.